Unfortunately, as we get older, we become more attractive targets for scammers. And we've all worked hard for our money. And I don't want to see you lose any of your money to these crooks. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the top 3 scams and what you can do to protect yourself from them. And these are the top 3 scams according to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. So let's jump in, and unfortunately, let's start with how much money was lost last year to scams. And the number is staggering. It's $10 billion was lost in total for scams. And unfortunately, people 50 plus lost the most of all these folks. And we're going to go over some of these scams and what the average person lost. So let's jump in. And the first one is the imposter scam. You get a call supposedly from your bank. It's the fraud department, or maybe they say they're from the IRS or the Social Security Administration, or maybe even the police, right? They pretend to be somebody that they're not. It's a number that might even show up on your phone, recognized. It might even be the name of your bank, or it might even be the name of the local police office, or it might say the Internal Revenue Service. But don't let that fool you. You know, first off, the IRS and the Social Security Administration, for the most part, is going to, if they have any questions, if they have anything information they need from you, they're likely going to physically mail something to your address as opposed to beginning with a phone call. The IRS even addresses this on their website and tells people to be careful of scams. They're likely, their preferred mode of communication, it's going to start off with mail, and then there's not going to be a sense of urgency. They're not going to say, you know, you have to go down to the Western Union today and send money in. So first protection against to protect yourself against this type of scam is, you know what, if you don't recognize the phone number, don't pick up. And if they're claiming to be from your bank or your credit card organization or the government, call a number that you know to be true. If it's your credit card, look at the back of your credit card statement. If it's your bank, look at the back of your ATM card. Look at your bank statement, but call a number that you know to be true, and go from there. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, I think most of us are going to find out, you know what? That was a scam. Okay, let's see what else I have. So the average loss for the impersonation scam is $1,500 per scam. And believe it or not, this is not a large number. We're going to see much larger numbers coming next. Okay, the next one is investment scams. So this can take many different forms. And you want to be super careful with investment scams, because when you're opening up a new custodian relationship, like, you know, we think of Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, companies like that, but there's a lot of smaller custodians there. And typically when you open that up, first you're giving away a lot of personal information. And it would not be unusual to start a relationship with a couple $1,000s for sure, maybe even $10,000 or more. And that's why you see with the investment scams, the average loss is almost $8,000. It's $7,700. And you know, that's a lot of money. And it's really easy to get scammed in these type of situations. And in fact, they can make it look like you're making money. And so maybe you get enticed somehow to open up an account, a trading account, you start doing some trades, and they make it look on their platform like you're doing really well. And so then it's just human nature. Maybe you're going to add to that account. But then the shock comes when it comes time to take money out of the account, and you find out it's not as easy to do that as what they said it was going to be. In fact, oftentimes this is where they try to get those last couple dollars from you. So they'll say something along the lines of, there's been a security alert and we need to verify that you are who you are. So we need you to transfer in an additional $1,000, an additional $5,000, an additional $10,000 so we can verify your identity. You know what? You can verify your identity from your bank, by transferring over 10 cents. You don't need to transfer over all that money. I shouldn't chuckle because people are losing big dollars here, but that's the scam where people lose the most money. But stick with me because I'm going to give you these top 3, but then I'm going to also share with you a list of very common scams and how much money people lose and how to protect yourselves. So how do you protect yourself from the investment scam? You know, I hate to say it, but I think you have to stick with known custodians. You have to open up accounts. Maybe you go into the physical branch, or you go online to a URL, a website that you know to be those custodians. And I hate to say it because it's harder for these third parties to get going, and I think competition is good, but the risks are so high. You have to really know that the custodian is for real and that you're not going to get scammed. Okay, the next one is these social media scams, and you know, as we get older, like I just went through a phase where most of my friends' kids were heading off to college, and unfortunately, about a fourth of my friends ended up getting divorced through that process. So they find themselves in their late 40s or early 50s. They're single, and the dating scene is very different today than it was certainly when I was last dating before I met my wife, which was probably 36 years ago. So it's been a long time. And now there's all these online sites, which can be very helpful sites, but they can also be just slime pools of places to get scammed. And one of the telltale signs is the person doesn't want to meet face to face. They just want to message with you. And, you know, I think early on that can be okay. But, you know, if it drags on too long, you want to be careful because, you know, what are they hiding? If they're looking for a relationship, if you've been messaging with them for a while, you know, you should be able to get together with them face to face in a reasonable period of time. But what happens with these romance scams is, you know, they'll start talking to you about maybe some hardships in their lives, and they need some money, or they need, you know, cosmetics sent over because it's so expensive in their country. So you start sending over gifts. And then the big one is, it's kind of related to that investment scam. It's called pig slaughtering. And it's a horrible name, but just like a farmer fattens up a pig before the slaughter, with these romance apps, you know, it's also these texts that we get saying, hey, you know, what time does the party start tomorrow? Or, you know, are you going to such and such an event? Or it's been a while since we've chatted. Let's go out for coffee or for a glass of wine. And these are from people that you don't know, and they're trying to start a communications with you. And then once they get that communications going, oftentimes they take their time and they build this relationship. They're trying to build trust with somebody that they don't know, but it can be related to the investment scam where they're encouraging you to, you know, maybe they say they're a very sharp business person or an excellent stock trader, and look at all this money that they make. And oftentimes their victims end up pursuing them saying, oh, tell me more about this. And they're like, well, you know, they put up these obstacles. You have to read this book first. I want you to be sure you're educated. I want you to start small, whatever it is to build up trust. But ultimately, they're going for the big slaughter where you end up putting in $10,000, $20,000 or more, and then you can't get your money out. Okay, let's talk about some other scams. And this is according to fraud.org. And these are super popular scams. The first one they mention is prizes, sweepstakes, and free gifts. So maybe, you know, hey, you've won this free prize, you just need to fill this out and maybe pay for shipping and handling, or we need to verify your identity, something like that. The average person loses $1,008 from that. The next one is phishing and spoofing. These are the emails that we get where they're trying to get us to click on something that's going to start tracking on our computer or something like that. The average person, believe it or not, loses $1,600 on that scam. We talked about investments earlier. According to the FTC, the average person loses $7,700. according to fraud.org, the average person loses $20,000. And I suspect the $20,000 number is more of an estimate, because oftentimes these frauds go unreported because people are embarrassed. And if you've been scammed by somebody, definitely reach out to the FBI. They have a criminal line that you can, a criminal fraud line that you can reach out to, so that the FBI has the information as to how you got scammed. And know that really, really smart people, including somebody that used to be the director of the CIA and later the director of the FBI, after this person retired and was in his late 70s, early 80s, you know, he came out and said he got scammed. So if somebody like that, the director of the CIA, the director of the FBI, one person that held both of those positions during their career, if somebody like that can be scammed, it can happen to any of us. Okay, the friendship romance scam that I talked about earlier, according to fraud.org, the average person loses $8,000. And then home repairs is a scam, where they're trying to get you to sign up to do some home repairs that never happen, and the average person there loses $2,200. So if you found this video helpful, I know you're going to enjoy this next video that I worked on, which are things that you should never disclose to anyone, in particular if you're over 50. That's this video here. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in this one. Bye-bye.